Attorney General Merrick Garland finally breaking his silence on the outrageous and many suspect falsely predicated raid on President Trump's private residence at Mar-a-Lago. The Attorney General revealing he asked the Department of Justice to seal or unseal the search warrant and that he, Garland, personally approved the decision to raid the former president's home. Here with more on this breaking news is Alan Dershowitz, professor emeritus at Harvard Law School, Newsmax analyst, and author of The Price of Principle, Why Integrity is Worth the Consequences. Dersh, it's always great to see you, sir. So Garland says he's ordered the DOJ to unseal the warrant, but isn't the real deal the affidavit to explain all of that to the folks?
Look, whenever you have a search, you leave behind usually the warrant. It's just a piece of paper, a form, and then the receipt for whatever is taken. That's given routinely to the person being searched. It's the affidavit in which the FBI agent swears that he has probable cause and lists all the things he's looking for with specificity under the Fourth Amendment that must be revealed. Now, former President Trump has the right to seek that to be unsealed, and he can waive any privilege or any privacy if he wants to do it. So two important developments today. One, that Garland said he personally signed off on. A lot of people were saying, no, it was Wray, it was not Garland. I knew all the time it was Garland, and I said so over again. The second thing is stop picking on the judge. The magistrate judge, they always approve search warrants. I'm sure the words were correct. Don't blame him. There's been in the media a lot of anti-Semitic attacks on him, a lot of McCarthyite attacks on him, blaming him for being one of the lawyers for Jeffrey Epstein's secretary. Want to blame people? Blame me. I was Jeffrey Epstein's lawyer. If you trust me to do justice, don't attack the judge. Criticize the Justice Department. That seems appropriate.
Well, yeah, well, some people have questions why he recused himself from a Trump and Hillary case and then go ahead and went ahead and decided to approve this dang warrant. Let me ask. Well, go ahead. Address that.
It wouldn't matter. Judges grant search warrants like parents give out candy on Halloween. They're not a protection. They're not. So any judge would have done the same thing. So stop picking on the judge.
Okay. Well, you have been critical of this raid. If Trump were a Democrat, I'm pretty confident he would have been issued a subpoena. And indeed, we found out today that he had been issued a subpoena, but the raid went ahead anyway. Does that raise any red flags with you?
Oh, completely. First of all, we know that there were no search warrants on Hillary Clinton or on Sandy Berger, and Hillary Clinton's going around wearing a hat saying, mocking the argument. Saying her emails. No, that's a good argument. Garland talked about equal justice. The Justice Department has to explain why they conducted a search warrant in this case and not in the other two cases. That's a fair question to ask, and Garland didn't answer that question.
We already know the FBI has lied about President Trump before, to a FISA court, no less. I believe we have systemic failures in the Department of Justice that have to be corrected. Do you agree? And then what should we do to correct that?
Well, first of all, they're now claiming, of course, it was a Trump supporter, John Solomon, who revealed that, yes, there was a subpoena. But nobody knows whether or not the subpoena was A, complied with, B, whether or not the lawyers were in negotiation about it. And if there was a subpoena, there was no danger that anything would be destroyed. They identified the 12 boxes. It would be a serious crime to destroy something under subpoena. And so that doesn't provide a justification. The fact that there was a subpoena earlier, that makes it more difficult to explain why, instead of going through the subpoena process, they decided to engage in the search. I think I know the reason. And the reason is they wanted to search more extensively in the closets of the wife. So they wanted to avoid any claim of privilege, executive privilege, lawyer-client privilege, Fifth Amendment privilege. We know that Trump has asserted the Fifth Amendment privilege in New York, and I think they were fearful that he would assert it here as to the act of producing the documents. So to circumvent the Fifth Amendment, to circumvent the Fourth Amendment, and to circumvent the Sixth Amendment, the right to counsel, they went ahead with a search, which shouldn't have been done unless there was a danger that items were going to be destroyed, which there was no danger.
Well, Professor, I think you're making my case. You have the government actively circumventing the Constitution of the United States. You have the FBI already confirmed to have been lying to a FISA court so they could target President Trump. My question to you again is, do we have deep systemic problems with the Department of Justice and the FBI, and what do we do to correct those?
Look, we've had systemic problems in law enforcement for years. The way to prevent it is to make sure that there are people who are watching transparently to see that nothing improper is done. Courts are supposed to do that. The media is supposed to do it. When Garland was raised the appointment, because here was a former judge who should be overseeing the Justice Department in a non-political way. I'm still prepared to give him a kind of presumption of innocence, as he said about Trump. But I think he has to come forward and justify a lot more clearly why they went for a search warrant in this case. So unusual in a case like this. The other thing he has to justify is why they arrested Navarro, why they arrested Manafort, why they arrested Stone. Normally, if my client is indicted, I get a call at 4 o'clock in the afternoon and say, your client's indicted, bring him in tomorrow. Oh, no, tomorrow's a little inconvenient. All right, bring him in Tuesday or Wednesday. That's the way it's done. They don't go around shackling and handcuffing people, and that shouldn't be done in today.
No, I'm sorry, Professor. That's the way it's done for Democrats. Republicans get brought in shackles and in chains and with CNN cameras in tow. That's how this, air quotes, Justice Department handles Republicans. Professor Dershowitz, sir, thank you very much. Appreciate the time as always, sir.
J.P. Morgan's CEO is warning that an economic hurricane is coming. Are you preparing? If you don't do anything, your 401k could be a 201k, and that is not good. So call our trusted friends at Lear Capital. For 25 years, Lear has helped investors own gold to protect against market chaos. It's a good thing. They can help you too. Get your information and up to $15,000 in bonus IRA gold. Just call this number, 800-880-4300. That's 800-880-4300.